Doug FM presents
NTN.
Conspiracy Facts.
Good evening, Australia. Welcome back to Doug FM. Not the news you need, but the news you deserve. Tonight's top story, something is rotten in the state of South Australia. And it's not just the politics this time. A toxic algal bloom is sweeping our coastline, turning our waters into a floating seafood graveyard. Cuttlefish, cooked. Octopi, obliterated. Sharks, shuffled off this mortal coil.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the
dolphins?
It's like Finding Nemo if it ended up with everyone floating belly up. This isn't just an everyday algal issue, folks. Algal blooms are not uncommon. They happen around the world and they cause about $82 million in economic losses to the seafood, restaurant and tourism industries each year. But a bloom of this magnitude has never been seen before in South Australia. And it's really fucking our shit up. The villain? Karenia Mickey Moitoi. And yes, it's just as insufferable as the name suggests. Karen's not just killing fish and the mood, she's demanding to speak to the manager of the Southern Ocean. Now, Karenia Mickey Moitoi is incredibly rare. According to a scientist I saw on TV, so obviously a reliable source, it's popped up only a few times worldwide. Once in New Zealand in the 90s, it shut down the entire aquaculture industry. Some Kiwis reportedly resorted to eating fiberglass fish, which still has 3% more omega-3s than the average herpes-infected Murray carp. If this was Bondi, Carl Stefanovic would be kayaking live through slime on breakfast TV. But since it's South Australia, no one gives a shit. 4 months into this environmental disaster, despite not having the balls to officially label it that, the federal government has pledged a whopping $14 million dues, which, as economists say in technical terms, is bugger all. So to put that in perspective, the state is spending $8.3 million just to bid for the 2026 Climate Summit. That's right, we're spending money on a party that's meant to be all about fixing the climate, while the climate here is melting fish like ice cubes in a U tray. And what's the Fed's plan? Half the money goes to a coastal monitoring network. Translation, surveillance for the ocean. Australia, already a police state on land, now expanding into the sea. Soon your surfboard will be wiretapped. Now, with all the dead fish, people are asking, is it safe to eat seafood? Premier Peter Malinauskas says yes. In fact, he did a stunt where he ate oysters on live TV to prove it. But how do we know they weren't imported from Tasmania? Or maybe Pete's slowly building algae immunity, starting with microdoses until he can chug a seaweed smoothie without flinching. Maybe he is algae now, half man, half bloom. Peter Mickey Moitoi. But we can't know that isn't the case until we have some hard evidence to the contrary. Not knowing if the South Australian Premier was secretly an alganoid in disguise, I did the only responsible thing. I ate this reeling sushi from Port Lincoln. So far so good. If I sprout gills mid-broadcast, please call a doctor. Or David Attenborough. Boo! The Australian government did release a 7-point plan to tackle the algae. But I thought that was too many points. I didn't read it. 7? Are you kidding me? Next time, try a 3-step TikTok tutorial, Canberra. So what is causing this bloom? Some blame man-made climate change. But the media blames climate change for everything these days, from rising sea levels to rising heroin addiction to increased UFO sightings. Let me tell you one thing about man-made climate change, all right? Women also cause climate change, okay? Can we get that straight? Like, man-made climate change. Like, really, do we want to just blame, like, half the fucking population here? Like, seriously. Like, okay, just saying. It's not just man-made, is it? Man and women-made. You know, like why do we have to be sexist here? Like, really, like, you know, I know women have had a hard time and whatever, they haven't been able to vote and they haven't been able to do this and that, but like, come on, we really just, can we just say like human-caused climate change? Like, is that too much to ask? I mean, just, women do climate change too, okay? That's all I'm saying. But could it be something else? Something less natural? What about this thing? Desalination plants pump briny discharge back into the ocean, messing with salinity and oxygen levels. That could cause a toxic bloom. And Guess what? There are blooms in California, Florida, and Japan. And there are desalination plants in California, Florida, and Japan. Coincidence? We don't do coincidence around here. Stay hydrated, sheeple. Meanwhile, ABC News is sounding the alarm, saying this isn't just the death of fish, but it might be the death of humanity itself. Bit dramatic? Yes. But have you seen what's floating in the Spencer Gulf? What's that pink shimmer on the horizon? Out there by the Fluoro Peninsula. Well, according to some experts, that creeping pink oil slick may be the closest thing we have to a chance of natural salvation. Sea sparkle, or Noctiluca scintillans, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, don't quote me on that, is a single-celled organism known for its bioluminescence when disturbed. It's not a true plant, as it lacks chlorophyll and instead consumes other organisms for food. I guess now we just have to hope that Karen is tasty. So to recap, the ocean's full of death. Our government's giving us pocket change and PowerPoints. The Premier may or may not be part kelp. The apocalypse is starting, probably, and we're all out of oysters. And the experts are pinning their final hopes on the goodwill and appetite of a single-celled organism. What could go wrong? Back to you in the studio, Jack. And remember, folks, if you see green water, don't swim in it, unless you want lung damage, a rash, and possibly to wake up as Peter Malinauskas.
I think it speaks to a new era that we live in, Will, quite frankly. I think sometimes misinformation, particularly in social media, can spread very quickly. And when people are interested in something and we're seeing an event that is unusual, it's not like any other disaster we've seen before, people want to rush to information quickly, and social media can be an easy source, but it also can be a dangerous source of misinformation, which is why programs like this are so valuable.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear out there, isn't there?
So in tasting, what we do is take a small amount right off the top. It doesn't take much. That's the warmest part right here. I'm going to invert the spoon. Cover all 9,000 taste bud. Aerate it. Warm it up. Driving up. That top milk. That cream. Pure vanilla. Sweet it. That's a 10.
You're listening to Doug FM.